Here he comes.
Morning.
Morning.
Hello.
Morning.
Have you heard anything from Tom? I know he had something.
I have not.
Okay. I'll give him 1 minute, then we'll get going.
Okay.
Have you heard anything from Tom? I know he had something.
I have not.
Okay. I'll give him 1 minute, then we'll get going.
Okay.
I'm hearing a background echo of what I said like 30 seconds ago.
I heard that too.
We're gonna hold the meeting like that.
Yeah. I think we've amended that situation.
Okay. All right. In the interest of time, in noting that it's 8:01, I am going to call the Personnel Board meeting to order for Friday, November 21st, 2025. It is 8:01 a.m. and we have 4 of our 5 voting members present. We have one item on our agenda today, which is a continuation of our meeting from Monday, which is to discuss the cost of living adjustment that would impact our classification schedule that we use for purposes of our grid system across all grades. I know there was some data that was requested by various personnel board members, and that has been provided in the packet. I don't know if anyone wants to start the discussion of where they want to go with the number, and then we'll entertain any comments after that and then take a vote.
Okay, you can go to the virtual meeting.
Jason, I was looking at the Boston area inflation and the monthly CPI Boston area increase. It's increased over, it's increased 3.4% over the year for the CPI area, Boston area. I'm not really sure what that is. Can you tell me
Well,
what that is?
I think, Dorian, all the inflationary stuff and the social security stuff is about 3%. To boil it down to simple.
All right, because I was looking at the Boston area inflation, it was 3.3%. So I was going to suggest we go with 3.3% because of the inflation in this area. But I'm really sorry, I don't know what CPI Boston area means. I don't know what that is.
That's just consumer price index.
So I was going to suggest maybe we take a look at what a 3.3% increase would do, and if anybody else thought that was reasonable.
Other thoughts?
3.3.
Tom, were you talking?
Tom, you're muted.
I was talking to John.
I know Tom's muted too. There he is.
Yeah. Brian, any thoughts?
Yeah, my initial thought was 3%, to be honest. Let me just hang on a second. That seemed more in line with the average of the COLA survey that was there for the communities that were presented. Quite honestly, I think that's more in line too with what the private sector is seeing this year. I know, my company in particular is seeing a little bit lower target overall increase for people than we have in the past. So I was thinking 3, but certainly willing to entertain a discussion on 3.3 also.
Tom or John, any thoughts?
I'm the newest kid on the block here, and I'm trying to really understand how much authority we have here at the board, because I think we're more of an advisory role. I don't have any, I guess my thought, Jason and everyone else, is, let's say, for instance, As an example, we got that notification that the healthcare increased by 12%, will be increasing by 12%, and the employees literally are going to go backwards from their pays perspective each and every 2 weeks. And this is a wider discussion, and I'm really asking for your guidance, I guess, for my position as I continue to serve this board and serve this town is where else can someone on the personnel board be of help to find other revenue streams for the town to be able to help retain, attract quality people in for our community to stay in our community. And that's a much wider conversation. But for this purpose, I'm gonna listen in, I'm gonna learn. I understand that the raises, generally speaking, is gonna fall in around 3% because that's what the budget allows. But man, if I had my say, I'd say let's go find money somewhere else and give everyone 5% raise to keep talent in this town. But I know that's not an easy task to do. That's just my comment.
So just to maybe clarify a few things, we have an obligation under the SAP to make a recommendation.
Yep.
So while your other comment was far more loaded in terms of how do we,
I know that.
right, and that will be to many other boards and committees to figure out what I think is a growing problem for all communities in Massachusetts, not just, I don't think it's unique to Southborough.
Right.
I do want to clarify that if we were to use 3 or 3.3, which are the two numbers that have been thrown out thus far, most employees would actually see a 5 or 5.3% increase because we do currently compensate an additional 2% each year for time and grade for anyone that has satisfactory or better performance in their role. So the gross take home from an income perspective, if we used either of those numbers, would be 5 or 5.3. The only exceptions you'd have is once someone hits step 15, they don't get a step beyond step 15. The other thing I'll just add for purposes of kind of the commentary here is that there was the union data that was provided in the packet on Monday, and obviously we have nothing to do with those contracts. We have nothing to do with those employees, but these are the peers that are working alongside other employees. They just have to be organized, as collective bargaining units under certain departments. I did take that into account in thinking about where I would land too, and I was at the 3% even mark as well, knowing that we also have taken great strides to compensate for the additional years of service that I think we put a great value on. The final point I'll make is on the health insurance piece. I think it doesn't matter where you work, health insurance is going up, and it's a problem, well, grander than public service. I think it's all relative, though, to the amount of money that, depending on what position the employee's in, it depends on how many hours they have, their current pay rate, and there isn't like a one size fits all. So obviously, if you have a higher compensated employee, the healthcare increase is taking away less of their net increase, as opposed to an employee that is either not at 40 hours a week or not in a higher grade. So I think it is certainly a factor we need to consider, but it's also, I would assume, a factor that was considered in collective bargaining agreements, and also anyone that has a contract with the town, it would be the same instance, right? They're all paying that same rate.
Thank you. Yep.
All right. Any additional thoughts from the personnel board before I see if there's any public comment on this before we take a vote and make a motion and a vote? Okay. Vanessa, is there anyone that wants to react to anything that the personnel board has stated to date?
No hands raised right now, no.
We'll get to talk a little more about the people that are at the end of like the, the one that's at the end of the grid?
John, I can barely hear you.
I can barely hear you, but I also don't understand what you're asking.
We're gonna get the chance to discuss the one that's at the end of the grid, the step 14, or a couple that are approaching that. Are we gonna discuss that today?
We're simply, all that's on our agenda to discuss, and we don't, first of all, we don't discuss individual employees usually unless it's on the agenda. But second, we only are here to discuss kind of the COLA increases that will go across the entire grid. So it won't be unique to any one position or any one grade.
Okay.
So if there's an agenda item that you want to discuss in the future, let me know and we can figure out how to phrase that.
Right. I guess I thought long and hard last night about what I think I would do today on this call, and I'm with Dorianne, and I would say I would suggest and that we go to the 3.3% across the board to allow us to retain and attract great talent, and it's within the department heads purview to decide whether that employee will get the full 3.3 or
No, it's
scale
not.
it back to the 3. Oh, it's not. If
No, it's
we
not.
once
No,
we vote, it's across the board.
Yeah, this is a
Okay.
one size.
Understand.
Basically, the only thing the department head controls is the performance rating.
I understand.
Right?
I thought so. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So this is a uniform sort of recommendation.
Fair enough.
I don't have a track of what there are some employee contracts that also rely on this. Obviously, that's not in our purview, but some refer back to kind of this as well. I also think we're making this recommendation for purposes of the budget. I also fully acknowledge it's going to be a different budget season. So while we will take a vote today, and that's what will go in all of Brian's budget packets, it certainly will be an item that gets discussed with the select board and advisory, because ultimately this would get approved as part of the article at town meeting in terms of that the compensation grid would be approved in the article at town meeting right before the budget. So to the extent that there are differing views outside of this board after we vote, there certainly could be some additional discussion. All right. Does anyone want to make a motion? We have two numbers that have been floated, and Vanessa, I wanted to give some time for hands to go up, and I didn't see any go up. So any time, and anyone want to make a motion on the 3 or the 3.3 that have been referenced today?
I'll move that we approve the 3%.
Is there a second?
I'll second it for discussion.
All right. Discussion.
I don't know why.
You can vote it up or vote it down. That's all.
Yeah,
whatever you want to do.
Yeah, and again, it's not, again, I think I'm like Tom, I would much prefer to give everyone a whole lot more money, but, I just think, at the end of the day, we need to, what we present to town meeting has to be, cognizant of the overall economic conditions as well. I think it's in line with the previous couple of years. Again, this is my first year on the personnel board making this vote, but it seems that the 3% is consistent over the last couple of years. And, just with times in general, I don't know that going higher than 3% is justified right now.
I'll repeat my comment. I think that I'm proud of being in this town. I've lived here for 26 years and I plan on probably retiring here. So I want to have the best of the best of the best. I want to live in the best town. I want to have the best of the employees. I want to have the best people around us. So I suggest we step out and lead by sharing our thoughts and comments that we want the best here. and let the rest of the boards try to figure out how they're going to come up with the extra 3.3%.
Brian, what's the monetary difference of 0.3 when you add it to the 130?
Like $11,000. $11,000.
11,000?
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah.
So it'd be 115,000 instead of 103, whatever. Okay. It's really not that big a difference.
Allow one more permit for a house and we get $11,000 in property tax. That's all. I'll leave it at that.
All right. Are you ready to take a vote on Brian's motion?
Yep.
Okay. So John,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Dorian,
I have to read the room here. I'm gonna say no.
Tom,
No.
and I am aye.
There you go.
With that all being said, I echo Dorian and Tom's comments, and I remain committed that additional factors come to our attention between now and when the warrant gets posted, even though that would create a lot of noise for Brian in the budget process. I think it's incumbent on us to just continue to listen. But I think we've set a parameter right now, and I think we also need to pay attention and understand kind of the budgetary process, as it goes forward. Even though we aren't part of it, I think it does help us kind of navigate this going forward.
Thank you.
All right. I will make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All right. Roll call vote. John,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Dorian,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
and I am aye as well. Have a good day.
Thank
Happy
you very
Thanksgiving.